Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV for the Amanda Hall Psychic Show, all the way from the Gold Coast in Australia. I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic week. It's been a very busy week around the globe, but I think the most important thing that's happened this week and the last couple of days is Mercury, the planet of communication, has finally gone direct, and we can all breathe a sigh of relief. All our devices, all our computers, laptops, communication and things like that is suddenly begun to become a lot clearer. Isn't that a relief to know that Mercury's finally gone direct again? It happens 3 times a year where he goes into retrograde for about 3 weeks at a time. And we all sort of feel very uncomfortable, I think, at those times because our thinking becomes a little bit muddled and people don't listen and things get lost in the mail and people don't get messages, and it's just a very confusing time. So I'm pleased to say Mercury's finally gone direct on the 12th. It's now, you have to allow a couple of days after that for everything to sort of settle right back down. But I'm pleased to say I think it is settling down and we can finally start to move forward in our lives. So this week, the Simply Tarot card of the week that I've chosen just before the show is the Six of Pentacles. Now, this is a really, really nice card because a lot of people are going to say, oh, wow, about time. A raise in money or salary. Now, wouldn't that be nice? I know for many people around the world, during this pandemic, it's been a very tricky time, particularly when it comes to finances. A lot of people have lost jobs or lost hours and have a very uncertain time and a tricky time ahead of them at the moment, not knowing really what the future holds as the pandemic sort of livens up in areas and dies down in other areas. And look, I feel for everybody that's going through it. And we are all in this together around the globe. And I know that there's many parts of the world where things seem to be ramping back up again and people are going back into lockdown situations, and it makes things feel very uncertain. So when we see a card like this, the raise in money or salary, to me, even if it's not more money coming in for you, it's you being able to handle what resources you've got in a better way, so it almost feels like you've had a raise in money or salary. So let's get on to the astrology part of the show because it's becoming a very integral part of the show where we have so much to discuss every week on an astrological level, and this week's no different. Last week I touched on Chiron, and my inbox was full after that segment on the show about Chiron. What is this planet, Amanda? Who is it? Where did it come from? How come I don't know anything about it? How come this is new to the show? Well, Chiron's not new. Chiron is a planet that we astrologers, I suppose, don't give enough airtime to, because where we find Chiron in the chart is where the person themselves has the most healing to do. It's nicknamed the wounded healer as the planet, and it's sort of not so much indicating where the weakness is in your chart, it's where you need to do your most healing. So yes, for many people now, you can look up your chart online and you can sort of see where the planets are or what energy they're in. But Chiron is one of those very slow moving sort of planets, and it sort of is asking each and every one of us to take a long, hard look at what we need to heal in ourselves. Now, Chiron is in the actual sign of Aries at the moment. He will be going retrograde until about December 12 this year. So we've still got a very long transit of Chiron going backwards or retrograde. So when a planet goes backwards or retrograde, it means that in a sense its energy intensifies. It doesn't mean that it sort of goes to sleep and we don't have to do anything about it. If anything, I think it's asking us to understand the energy of the planet and what's happening in our lives even more so. So with Chiron being the wounded healer and Chiron being in Aries, the first planet, the first sign of the zodiac, the beginning of everything. Now, the Aries energy is supposed to be about me first, and did I tell you about me first? So Chiron's asking each and every one of us to attempt to heal what is broken inside of us. Now, that could be something that relates back to your childhood. It could be something that relates to a broken relationship or distance between you and a family member, or a falling out that you may have had with a very, very close friend. It could be just asking you to heal the things that have gone wrong in your life, the things that you can no longer really fix and you can't change. There's many things that happen to each and every one of us as individuals as we go through our lives that we hang on to, that, we were very hurt or upset at the time, and we tend to sort of hang on to that, and it's what becomes baggage. Now, this is what Chiron is asking us to heal. Now, in my experience, and I've been in this sort of work for a very, very, very long time now, the one thing I have learned is that we all have baggage. I don't care who you are and how much work you've done on yourself. We still have some tucked away somewhere. And it's now is the time that we bring that out into the light. We look at it, we own it. We look at what we can gain from it. Did we learn any lessons from it? And probably the most important thing to do is now release it. If there's nothing that we can do to fix it, heal it, or make it better, then maybe we've just got to release it and say, well, the answer is there is no answer, or there is no conclusion that I'm going to be happy with, but I'm going to release it from my soul. I'm going to release it from my body so that then finally I can come to terms with it. There's lots of things in life that we can't change. And one thing I've learned, we can't change another person. People only modify their behaviour or make changes themselves because they're not happy themselves with the way that they are behaving as an individual or as a human being. No other human being has the right or has the power to change someone else. That's a very individual thing. So once we learn that and understand that and accept that, I think it makes us much more tolerant as human beings. Now, there's enough things going on in the world at the moment and enough people we can point fingers at and blame and say they should have done this or they should have done that. But individually, we all have to take some responsibility in these very uncertain times with this pandemic that's going on. Look at what we can control. Now, the number one thing that we can control as an individual human being is look at our day-to-day habits. And I don't wish to sound like a broken record or all those messages that are jammed down your throat in all forms of media every day, but it really is up to us to take some responsibility. And the one thing that we can all be responsible for is ourselves, is that we can make sure that we're constantly washing our hands. We can make sure that if we walk outside our front door, that we have a mask with us in case that we can't social distance, that we can pop the mask on. We can not only protect ourselves, but we're protecting the other person. Isn't that the most important thing, is that we're going to look after the other person? We don't know what germs we may have that we're sharing with them. And, it may not be the greatest fashion statement to pop a face covering on your face, but hey, isn't it better than ending up very sick or dead? I think, it's a small price to pay. And I think we also have to err on the side of caution. Let's have some common sense. If you're going to go out, or you need to go out and you need to go somewhere where there's going to be lots of people, make sure you take your hand sanitizer with you. Try and social distance as much as you can. Wear your mask. Don't do silly things. And if we all do that, then we've got a chance, I think, of getting on top of this COVID-19. And maybe then, just maybe, we've got a chance of eradicating it. We can't just all sit there and say, oh dear, hurry up and get a vaccine. Even if they discover one today, it's still going to be a very long time before the world can be vaccinated against this horrible disease. And the thing is, we know it's a novel coronavirus. Who's to say that if we beat this one, that there isn't another one just lurking in the shadows, ready to overtake where COVID-19 leaves off? So I feel this is what Chiron in Aries is asking all of us to do, is to take responsibility for ourselves. And by taking responsibility for me, I am then being able to take responsibility for how I interfere or how I interact in your world. And that's a really special thing, to know that my actions can make a difference for you. Now, Chiron is also conjunct the planet of Mars. Now, Mars is the planet of action. Mars is also the planet of war. The last thing we want is the world to go into some sort of war. And I know there's a lot of unrest going on in the world at the moment, and particularly as the way the Chinese are handling Hong Kong. And a lot of people are very upset about that, and rightly so. We're supposed to be heading towards peace and everybody being equal. We have a lot of unrest around the world with the Black Lives Matter movement, and I think it's about time that we started to sort of acknowledge that more, that no matter which part of the world we live in, all of our Indigenous brothers and sisters deserve to be treated the way as we Caucasians are. We are not a superior race. It's time that we all join together as one. So before I wrap up the astrology, yes, we've still got Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn all sitting in Capricorn, all doing their dance. They're all sort of working on the pandemic, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's global warming, or whether it's our governments. And I know many of you are tuning out. You're sick to death of hearing what your local politicians and leaders have to say about things, because a lot of the time the stuff that comes out of their mouths are dribble, and that sort of seems to be a uniformed practice around the world. It's not just isolated to your area of the world, let me assure you. But I feel that we now have an opportunity over the next few months to try and get on top of this pandemic if we all start to work together. So this week I've drawn the candle out called Manifest. And the reason why I chose Manifest was I felt collectively as a globe, if we all lit a candle together, and it doesn't necessarily have to be my Manifest candle, but if we all collectively light a candle together and try and manifest some common sense in the world, try and manifest that maybe that all the world leaders are going to get on the same page and we can beat COVID-19 together as a globe. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing? But I feel it's like the power of prayer. If we all manifest together the similar type of energy, then maybe, just maybe, that energy will start to permeate through our world leaders, and maybe we'll just start to see some answers. Instead of them all squabbling and fighting amongst themselves and all being, look at me, aren't I the most important, powerful leader in the world? Maybe they'll get on with the job of trying to help the globe itself heal and find ways forward through this pandemic, and start to look at the reasons why we're having a pandemic and what we need to do about it, not so focused on finances. Yes, finances make the world go round, but if we're all sick, we can't spend the money and we can't make the money to keep the economy going around the globe. So we need to heal first. That's the most important thing. So that's why I've chosen the Manifest candle. So in the gift box set, I've got obviously Manifest. I've got out my angel in the sky, which I said until such time as we get a resolution to this pandemic, which I think is going to be a long way off yet, I'll continue to burn my angel on the sky on the set. I also have the healing candle because I still believe the world's got to heal in every possible way, and not just from this pandemic. I think we've got to heal the way that we think. We've got to start looking at things in a very different way and stop being so self-centered and self-absorbed. We've got to start thinking about me first, and then what can I do for you? And in that way, I think we will manage to heal the planet and we will start to heal the world. So let's hope that this is the start of a completely different direction, where we're finally going to start to see our leaders leading for a change instead of being so self-absorbed. We can always live in the power of positivity. And we're going to talk to Brittany. Brittany's in Springfield, Ohio. Are you there, Brittany? Hello, Brittany. Well, it looks like we haven't got Brittany for the moment, so I'll keep talking. So just on the retrograde planets, we've got, as I said, Chiron's going to be retrograde until December this year. So we've still got a long time to sort of heal ourselves and try and heal the wounded child within us. We also have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion, is retrograde until November. So Neptune is in the planet in the energy of Pisces, which that's the energy that Neptune rules. So Neptune feels very comfortable there. So we've got Neptune retrograde till November. So we've still got a few things to come out. So it'll be interesting to see how the elections unfold in the US with Neptune retrograde till well and truly after that. We have Brittany now in Ohio. Are you there, Brittany?
Hello.
Hi, Brittany. Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
Well, my Nana passed away back about 5 years ago, and here recently I heard her say my name, and I was just wondering what that might have been about.
Okay. When people that are close to us pass away, they find their own individual way, Brittany, of making contact with us. And sometimes it's just that they don't necessarily have a specific message or some life-threatening event that they want to warn us about. They just want you to know that they're there. And by Nana saying your name, she just wanted to get your attention. She wanted you to acknowledge that she's still with you. Even though she can't come and physically sit down at the kitchen table and have a meal with you, she's still around you. She's still, got you in her thoughts. She's still guiding you. So, don't be frightened by something like that. It's actually a very special gift when they're able to make connection like that you can hear their voice, and it's a voice that you can recognize, and they're saying your name or saying your parents' name. That's a really special thing. Not everybody gets that opportunity when they do connect with the other side to hear a physical voice like that. So that's very, very special, sweetie. She's just letting you know she's around. So has there been a lot of changes this year? And I'm not just talking about because of the pandemic that's going on, but was there change going on in your life prior to that, Brittany?
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Yeah, and I just sort of feel that Nana's she's standing there and she's got her arms out towards you and she's just saying, it's okay, darling, I'm here. I'll help you. I'll guide you through this. So, if you're really troubled about something, have a conversation with her out aloud before you go to sleep of a night. And if you call her Nana, say, Nana, this is what's going on and I really don't know which way to go, and I'd appreciate if you've got some insight or, you want to chip in with some advice. Just put the idea in my head first thing in the morning and I'll know that's from you. And that gives them a clear direction on how that they can contact you and how that they're helping and they're guiding you. Because, you've got to understand it's really difficult for them on the other side to be able to sort of make a connection with us that we can acknowledge that is them. And that's the method that I use. I ask out aloud before I go to sleep, and I ask for them to put it into my head upon waking. And then I know that's directly from the person that I've requested some help from or some guidance from. And, it might seem a peculiar answer at the time, but write it down because it will make sense. We don't always get a yes or no answer to the question. We might get something that's random or abstract and we think, well, that didn't really answer anything. But, they're not allowed to control us. But what they can do is help us, is guide us and give us some insight. Ultimately, the choices that we make here on earth are still ours, Brittany, but I know she's still with you and she loves you, and she sent me the most beautiful big pink heart. So you're still very much in her heart. So enjoy your night, Brittany, and know that Nana's with you all the way.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Brittany, and good luck with the changes that are coming up, sweetie. You are on the right track. Just keep going.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. We're going to talk to Toby in Fort Myers in Florida. Are you there, Toby? Hello, Toby.
Hello?
Hello, Toby. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sweetie. I hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Do you have a question? Good, good. Do you have a question I can work with, please, sweetie?
Just kind of wondering how things are going to go for me because everything seems to be falling apart for me right now.
Okay. All right. I can tune into that for you, Toby. Yes, look, I feel that there's many endings, changes and transformations around you, and not just because you're in one of the world hotspots at the moment for the virus. I feel in your personal life there's a lot of change there. There's a lot of things there, Toby, that are coming to the surface that I'm going to say that are making you feel quite emotional. Now, look, I don't want to say to you don't own that. I do think that you've got to own it and work through it. But I also want to suggest to you, don't let it weigh you down. If something comes to the surface and you feel upset or you feel teary about it, let the tears flow, go and wash your face and say, right, that's done. Now let's move on to the next thing. Because I feel by as early as to August, we're going to start to see things really sort of starting to come together. There's a much more clearing coming to the things that have been troubling you, and with the changes that have been going on. It's like some of it's been incredibly hard. Some of it you just sort of wished you didn't even have to confront or deal with. And then there's little bits and pieces through this that's relatively easy. But overall, what it's doing is clearing out the trash in your life and sort of getting you into a much stronger position so that as we move into the month of August, life will start to become a lot easier. It's like the pathway starts to clear. I can see the directions that I need to go. I can see what I need to retain for the, moving forward, but I can also see what I need to release. Has there been a little bit of a health issue there earlier in the year, Toby, that you just finally feel you're starting to get on top of now?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, good, because I want to see you continue on with whatever you were doing for that. They were saying to me it's been a slow process, but, sort of we're almost out the other side with that now, that you can start to see, well, finally, I'm starting to feel better. I still feel tired, though, around you. Is that sort of something that's still troubling you, that every now and then you get this wave of tiredness where you just need to find a seat to sit on?
A wave of what? I'm sorry?
Do you get these waves of tiredness where you can't do anything but you need to sit down and have a rest?
Yes.
They were showing me that, and they were showing it to me in a way that don't ignore that. If you get that wave and you can sit down, even if it's only for 5 minutes, that's really important, because what you're doing is then listening to your body, honouring that, and then you can get up and then you can go again. That will be the quickest way to sort of to complete the final part of this healing, of getting this, health situation under control. So that's a good thing. So
right. I was dealing with a mold issue in my house, and I think I'm finally got it all.
Right, yeah, but now I think we've got to let your body sort of catch up with that, like to do the final part of the healing, because that really made you quite ill.
It did. I'm surprised I'm even still here.
Well, yes, I am too, and I don't mean that to sound patronising, but I mean it was very, 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 very serious, and I think another month might have been a very different equation if you hadn't sort of discovered what the problem was. So you were very, very fortunate there that I think someone from the other side sort of gave you a bit of guidance there to sort of how to get to the bottom of this issue, which is a good thing. So during this time where you had, this difficult thing to overcome, has it become more clear to you who you can rely on in your life and who needs to be sort of let go of?
I really don't have any friends left that live here.
Right. But it's not
pretty
so
much
about
alone all the time.
You what, sweetie?
I'm pretty much alone all the time. It's either me and my dog or me and my kid and my dog.
Okay. The reason I asked that, because they were sort of showing me that whoever was left now was, when you're saying there's not many people left now at all, was who you could truly rely on. But I do feel from next month that your whole life is going to start to open out again, is going to start to expand. I do actually feel you're going to start to bring in some new friends into your life. Was there one stage there where you thought about packing up and moving away from Florida?
I've been thinking very hard about it very, very much lately.
And is that directly relating to the mold in the property, or is it just a combination of everything?
A combination of everything.
Look, I'm not going to say it's not on
the final topper,
Right. Yes. Okay. Look, I'm not going to say it's off the table yet. What I'm going to suggest to you is, Toby, that from the month of August, everything will become very clear. And it may not be on August 1, but what I'm saying is as we move into the month of August, then things will become very clear. If you are meant to leave Florida, it will become overwhelming. It'll be sort of like this is so right that I can taste it, I can feel it, I just know. Wait until you get that sort of signal. Don't try and sort of preempt what your final decision's going to be. I want to see you use the rest of this month to really just sort of listen to your body, sit down, rest when it's tired, sleep when you need to, release any tears or emotion. I mean, you could be sitting there and watching the television and all of a sudden you feel like laughing and you're not watching something that's funny. Then don't think, am I losing my mind? Because you're not. what's actually happening is we're just sort of releasing a lot of pent up old emotions and old thoughts and old things, and they've got to be released on the physical. And this is part of your final healing, Toby. So just go with it, even if you're watching, you know, the worst bit of the news and you feel like burst out laughing and it's not a laughing matter, just go with that. Because I just sort of feel this next 2 to 3 weeks is so important. If you can just do what your body suggests and go with it, we will get the clarity that you so rightly deserve about what the next steps are in your life so much quicker. I know Florida's on the coast, but I was sort of seeing if you were to leave there, I felt you would go much further north. Is that sort of on the radar for you?
There's some possibilities. I mean, I don't have a particular area picked out, but yes, I do want to go north. I do want to get away from the heat.
Okay. That's all they were showing me when I asked, and they just showed me sort of like, I roughly know where Florida is on the map, and they just showed me you were going direct north. I can't give you any clearer indication than that, but, you know, if that's what's been in your mind, that, you know, definitely go north, well, that's what's going to happen. But I felt it would be a little bit inland. I didn't feel it was right on the coast was what I got. Anyway, Toby, I hope that's helped you. That's where we've got to leave Toby now. We've come to the end of the show. So I hope this week you use the time to really start to heal yourself and listen to what your wounded or inner child is telling you, or the areas of your life that you need to heal. We can all start to take notice of what that is. Let's not waste this Chiron in Aries. Let's make it work for us so that then we can help other people. And don't forget, please follow the guidance of your local authorities. We all are in this together. We do need to beat this COVID-19. And we do need to make decisions and choices for us as individuals and our close family members and our friends. And please stay safe. And if you are sick, please get tested. We all need to try and beat this as quickly as we can. And until next week, have a great week and bye for now.